during the lunch break, you can just ask in the presence of everyone so that everyone has access to that. And then also to inform you that going forward, we will give you this kind of briefing once a day. It's up to you whether you want it to be done in the morning or lunchtime or after the session. And then, of course, on Saturday, after the deliberations, we will also come and give like the final briefing. But there's really nothing much to say after every single break because we're all here with you and we can see what has happened. And so to the extent that there might be developments about who's coming next and so on, we are prepared to do that one briefing per day. But we do want to work with you, and that's why we thought let's call all of you and then have a kind of understanding of how we're going to do this going forward. So that's really it. So we'll answer any broad questions that you might want to ask about the process, and then also what I've just said about the practical, how we're going to work together. This is Commissioner Doris Tsepe, who is the co-spokesperson of the JSC, and she and I will then field whatever questions might come. I see there's already one hand. Maybe Silo, take it from there. I think I can see two hands. There's Alison and Karen. There's Alison and Karen.
For in relation to something that you said yesterday, you said that in talking about the criteria for Chief Justice, that you identified three areas, and you identified the first one is skills and experience, the second one is leadership and people skills, and the third one as administrative and management skills. Could you talk to us a little bit more about those criteria and maybe a little more detail on each one?
Oops. Load shedding, yeah. Good. On cue. Okay, who can still see us and who can still talk? Shouldn't you? Can you see us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so can you open the, or somebody please open the curtains at least. Okay. So, all right. Sorry. Yes. Okay, thank you. The issue of criteria, maybe Alison, let me just speak about it broadly first, because I know you have raised this in many other organizations. This is a matter that we wish to interact with the public in respect of quite a lot in the coming few months. You know that our view has always been that the starting point of a criteria is the Constitution. I personally am on record as having said, I think to one candidate, that I'm not happy that the criteria set out in the Constitution are wide enough because they only talk about gender and race, whereas the obviously many other areas of diversity, in society. But be that as it may, the starting point has to be the Constitution. As it happens, we as the JSC had agreed, I think it was around in the October meeting, that we would have a workshop and address some of the issues that have been raised, particularly because there are new commissioners, there are commissioners who have been here for some time, and that kind of interaction is necessary. The only reason that workshop has not yet happened was because we were waiting for this process of the Chief Justice. Because some of us felt that it must be done immediately, others felt that it would make more sense if it is done with the new Chief Justice. That person, after all, is the person who's going to be chairing the JSC into the future. So it would make sense to have that person as, running the workshop, so to speak. Speaking for myself, one of the issues that I will raise in such a workshop, because the issues have been raised in all our interactions, would be this issue of not only crafting but communicating, because Commissioner Tsepe and I, just specifically as the people who are communicating, have to make sure that the public is always kept informed. So I can assure you that from both of us, at the workshop, one of the issues we will put on the agenda will be that to the extent that the criteria are not clear, then they must be made as clear. Even if they've been made clear before, they must be made clear again, because there's no purpose of saying we've made them clear if there's still people who feel that the criteria are not clear. But zooming back to your question specifically, of course, everything I've just said is about the criteria for appointing judges, any judges. But what I was saying yesterday was specifically about the Chief Justice. That the Chief Justice, the three areas that I mentioned, obviously would relate particularly to the Chief Justice and to some extent all the leaders of the courts, judge presidents, president of the SCA, and so on. And that is just the simple point that when we interview for such positions, we are obviously already interviewing judges and senior judges, leaders. If it's a JP, the candidate is likely to be a deputy JP. So we're not here to find whether this person is suitable to be a judge. That would have been done 10 years or 15 years prior. But of course, the legal skills, as one of the candidates said, is their core business. But you are looking for more. You are looking for a leader, as I always call it, is a leader off the bench, but a leader on the bench as well. But you're also looking for administrative skills, and you're looking for leadership, people skills, because you're managing people and egos and all sorts of things. Human beings are human beings. So it's that kind of interview. This is just at a higher level, but it's simply that kind of interview where you look at a more rounded set of criteria than just whether you can write a good judgment or whether you can just be a good leader and so on. Yeah.
Thank you. I've just got one question. So will the purpose of the meeting on Saturday be to advise which candidate will be recommended to the president for appointment?
No.
Thank you so much for the question, and I think it's an important question. I think one of the key things we have agreed on doing is this is a process of the president. He has asked us to do something, and in doing that function, the JSC has agreed that we will inform the president first before we make it public to the media or to the rest of the country. So it will be just to inform you of where we are at that point, but inform the president first and thereafter make it public. Thank you.
Karen? I have two queries.
Sure.
The first of all, we looked at this issue of guidelines around who should be appointed as Chief Justice. But, manifestly in your situation, Advocate and Corporal, there may be perceptions that you are biased in terms of your questioning specifically of DCJ and Zondo because of the fact that there's a pending potential LPC investigation in regards to your conduct at the Zondo inquiry, and also because your client, the former president, is persisting in a recusal application against Zondo in the High Court. Do you have any apprehension that you should possibly not participate in that questioning because of perceptions of possible bias on your part? And the second question is unrelated, Heidi has pointed this out. In relation to CJ Mokoeng, the understanding is that he has passed the deadline that he was given by the JCC to apologize for the Israel comments. Is the JCC aware of lodging any litigation to review that decision? And if not so, what action can the JSC take in order to ensure that he does make good on that apology that he was ordered to make? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, on your first question, look, I'm not going to comment, obviously, I'm not going to comment about myself. Anyone who is aggrieved about any commissioner, I'm now speaking for the JSC, has a right to complain about that commissioner to the powers that be. The only powers that be that I can think of would be the courts or the president, because we're all here appointed by the president. Or maybe there could be a third one, which is the bodies that have put our names here. If you look at section 178 of the JSC, it explains exactly how each person gets to be a commissioner. So I think that those processes should be followed, whether it's me or anybody. It's the same, the rules must apply. If you ask me if I have any apprehension, no, definitely not. I think it's just, not even worth responding to be honest. I mean, because people were here when we sat with DCJ Zondo in October, and, I speak to him frequently in my capacity as a spokesperson. He's the acting Chief Justice. I think people are just manufacturing it for their own ulterior purposes. So, no, there's no such perception. Now, in respect of the former Chief Justice, yes, the information that I actually received yesterday was that the 10 days has not yet expired. So maybe on Saturday you can ask us that question. Anybody?
But he hasn't indicated that he wants to litigate. There's no indication at this stage.
No, well, as you correctly say, these things work in stages. Once the 10 days expires, then we get to the next level. Yeah. I don't know what, he has not indicated anything. I don't think Silla can confirm.
Yes, he has not, but he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we must wait until the 10 days, and if after the 10 days he hasn't said anything, that's when then we can talk about something.
Okay.
That's why I would think it's correct to say we can ask for a Saturday, or maybe on Friday or so.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question, colleagues?
Okay, we're happy. So, do you prefer to talk to us in the mornings or lunchtime or after the interviews?
Lunchtime is fine.
Lunchtime is better. Yeah. Then we can even do it in the usual way outside and just give you a 5-10 minutes thing, or even here, whatever you prefer. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.